So we are here for another one of our Shine Your Light series, and today we're here with Danna, and she is going to be talking about soul alchemy. Do you want to introduce yourself, my dear, and let us know who you are, what you do, and what brought you here?
Yes. Hi. I am a soul alchemy coach. I'm a life coach, and the work that I do is very much targeted for women who are not really sure who they are, what they want. They can't really find their place in this like noisy, crazy world. So the reason why I do this work is because of my own journey. And is it okay if I go into that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I was born in Israel, and I moved here when I was 8 years old. And I actually have almost zero memory of my childhood, and my teenage years are also a blur. So I always say that I woke up at 29, my first Saturn return, and I was lost, completely lost. I had 2 kids, I was married, and I had a job that I hated. I had all of this stuff around me that I thought I had wanted, right? I went to college. I did all the things that everybody tells you to do. I did all of it, but I still wasn't happy. I was completely unfulfilled. I was depressed. I was drinking way too much, not eating enough, exercising way too much, all the things that we find ourselves doing to feel. So a lot of people have addictions to numb out. My addictions were to help me feel, where I was numb. I was numb to everything that was around me, including my kids, including my husband, including my friends. So I had a decision to make. I could continue going this way and feeling like I had no idea who I was and I was doing all of these things for other people, or I could take life into my own hands and try to figure it out. So that's what I did. Tried to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And it took a lot, and it took a long time, and it took, psychics and mediums and books and coaches and programs and courses. I did all the things to try to figure myself out. The only thing that I didn't do enough of was listen to myself, give myself the right, the acceptance, allow myself to be where I was, to desire the things that I desired, to not have shame, to not have guilt over the things that I want, and my journey, right? So what brought me here? All of the things that I've been through in my entire life, and a part of this healing and processing journey was figuring out these memories that I had no recollection of, which Ashley has been helping me with the gene keys. And I've been doing all kinds of ceremonies and all kinds of different processes. So I started deep coaching for myself and then doing it for other people in the past year. In the past year, I've been doing it full time. And it has really opened up my world, and it has shown me how many people are lost and how many people don't understand their magic and don't understand the power that they hold and how they can have whatever life they want. They can have whatever they want if they just give themselves permission to want it and believe that they deserve it. So I've been on a crusade journey to help people find themselves, rediscover themselves, learn who they are, accept themselves where they are, and then move forward. So if this is where I am, how do I move forward? How do I become better? How do I continue to grow? What's the legacy that I want to leave? Giving people permission to dream really big and then helping them break it down into goals. And how do we achieve this? And a lot of that comes from working with the subconscious mind, which is a lot of the work that I do. In a nutshell.
Amazing. Awesome. And I could see how that kind of played out in your chart, because in your design. And it's so awesome seeing somebody so aligned with their design and the process and journey it took you to get there, because your culture sphere, which those of you guys that know is in your pearl sequence, and your culture sphere is the tribe that you attract, the people you're here to work with. And when you are out of alignment with that gene key, with that energy, you can't manifest prosperity, inner prosperity, outer prosperity. You can't do that. And so by knowing who your tribe is allows you to really hone in on your messaging, hone in on what you're here to do. And so you kind of had to go through this whole process to be able to then take other people through the process. And the gene key that's in your culture sphere is 10, which is self-obsession, naturalness, and being. And to ease into your naturalness and your being, you have to ask the question, who am I? So that is, and I share that gene key with you in my purpose sphere. So my purpose sphere is all about the quality of my consciousness. And the thing that started me on my journey was numbing out, doing the things I was supposed to do, and then realizing, well, fuck, I don't know who I am. Who am I? And that was the question that started my journey. And so I have a resonance with like your whole journey and process and where you're at now, because I share that same thematic energy as you do, because I've been through it. And I know a lot of people, you don't have to just have gene key 10 in your chart to understand this journey and process and energy. But everybody goes through that self-discovery, because if you're wanting to master yourself and if you're wanting to achieve that self-mastery and put out your own flair and enthusiasm and competency into the world, you've got to ask that question, right?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of women find themselves there because, you know, we're told we're supposed to go to college, we're supposed to get a good job, and then you get married, and then you have the kids, and then you get a house with a white picket fence, and then you do, you know, you do the cooking and you do the cleaning, and like these are kind of standards that society has set for us, and that never fit for me. And I did it. I did all the things because I was supposed to. And don't get me wrong, I love my children, but that I was never that traditional wife. That just never resonated with me. And all the respect to people that it does, but that's not the type of house that we have. And knowing that, accepting that, seeing that in my chart, that part of my purpose is to be my authentic self, no matter what that is. And then being able to actually do it, right? And that be okay. And watching that work out and watching that be okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us about your book, the book that you wrote, and what got you to that book? We want to talk about soul alchemy and this new cool thing that you're doing, but I want to see the process. Like how did you get from there to here? Because everybody's like, I want to find my purpose, my mission, my passion, and then you got to do something with it. Like once you really feel like who you are, like now what?
Great question. So while I started my deep journey about 5 years ago, I have been exploring myself since I was probably about 17, because I never had any idea what I wanted to do or who I was. And I always felt this deep yearning. It's like, I think it's that gene key 10, that's why. Like I need to know all the things, everything about myself. And I think we all do. And the more that the veil thins between our world and the spirit world, and we are shown all of these different things, and we start to feel more and we start to understand more, we have more questions. So my journey was this book, and this, I think it's backwards, but it's called Becoming Who You Are. And this book is workbook is really my exact journey, the things that worked without the things that didn't work. So I like to say I'm a slow learner, but it took me a really long time because I'm very much about experiencing everything in my body, trying it out. I'm the 1-3, all about trial and error, lots of error, and that being okay. So this is a combination of shadow work. It's a combination of intuition development. It's a combination of acceptance, self-love, self-appreciation, and really just discovering your desires. So what I have found that my fastest way to transformation, or my fastest way to figuring out who I was and what I wanted to do and what I wanted to create in the world, is my desires. And the only way to get to understand my desires is to allow myself to even have desires, right? As women and as mothers, like, nope, I got to feed my kids. I got to make the lunches. I got to clean the house. I got to do the laundry. I got to iron. I got to clean, blah, 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 right? All of these things, and the things that we want, the things that we desire come last. And that does not work. And for years and years and years, I thought I was just selfish, that I wanted my alone time and I wanted to read and I wanted to do all these things. But I realized that the more that I do it, the better person I am, the better leader I am, the better mom I am, the better wife I am. So allowing myself to sit with my desires and explore them and get curious and talk to my husband about the things I desire, whether that includes, bringing more people into our marriage. I mean, these are just things that we've explored that I desire, and just being honest with it, honest with him and honest with myself, that doesn't make me a whore, and that doesn't make me a bitch, and that doesn't make me all of these negative things. It's just exploration. And I really think that's what we are meant to do on this planet, is explore the energies that we come in here with, develop and grow and transform these energies to higher frequencies, but definitely explore them. So that's what this is. It's an exploration, and it's broken down into several chapters of who you're not, which is your shadow work, all of those deep, dark beliefs that we have about ourselves that were created in childhood, like I am not good enough, I am not worthy, I am not lovable, all of these things that continue to play out over and over and over again in our life, whether we know it or not, until we heal them. And then it goes through to your gifts and to your purpose and to your desires and forgiveness for yourself, forgiveness for others. I have fun things in here, like going on Pinterest and creating a bucket list and affirmations and daily routines and daily rituals, and how to sync yourself up with the moon and with the cycles of nature, because we are so connected to the moon. We are so connected to nature. I mean, we are the microcosm of the macrocosm of the universe. It's all connected. It's all related. So this is just kind of a guidebook, a workbook for you to color and figure out how to express yourself creatively, and answer important questions about yourself that really everyone should ask about themselves. Did I answer your question? I may have ranted.
No. It was good. It was good. Perfect. Yeah, I love, so you were talking about like asking those why questions, and that's connected to your emotions. And I know that your attraction sphere is 59, which is dissatisfaction. So like dissatisfaction is that emotion. And when the emotion is charged, you go into your EQ, which is why? Why can't I be happy? Why can't this? Why can't
I love his messages.
Yeah. So that's where you went. And then you said really being transparent with your husband. Like your SQ about being in your body is about transparency, intimacy. And so if you hide these desires that you're talking about, then it's detrimental. It obviously is going to feed that dissatisfaction, because you can't be who you deserve to be, right?
Yep.
And then creating this book is going to empower other people to kind of look at their shadow, know you aren't your shadow, but also embracing that shadow. Yes. So that you can, you can't walk down the street and like tell your shadow to take a hike. It's going to stay with you, right? There's things to learn from our shadow. So I love the play that you put in the exploration of it. And how long did it take you to put this together and to get it out there? So
my wonderful quality is that I am a manifesting generator. So I am everywhere. I have so many different interests. It took me about maybe like 2 months of every single day. I woke up at 4:44 and I would work on it until I had to start getting ready and start getting my kids ready. So probably around like 7, with some like kids waking up early in between. And then just spending all my free time on it. But this book has actually, I've written it many times in many forms, in many different ways. And it got to the point where a few months ago where I was meditating on it, like something just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel good to me. And I had this other idea. So I started writing something completely different. And then eventually ended up merging the two and deleting most of what I had worked on 6 months prior, for us 6 months prior. So it really is, everything is connected. Everything is a reflection. Everything has meaning, at least for me. Whereas I found that sometimes it does take you being quiet, you being still, and you just feeling into the feeling of something isn't right. Something isn't authentic about this book about authenticity, right? And maybe I have to recreate the whole thing, but if that's what makes it feel good, then you do it. Then you do the work. And it's just like our lives. If something doesn't feel good, then you do the work and you change it, because you don't want to be in the same spot a year from now being like, shit, I didn't do anything. It's been a year and I'm in the same spot, right? You don't want that. Maybe sometimes you have to do the extra work, but it feels like you, and it feels so good. And every time I read this, I'm like, oh, yes, exactly what I meant. It feels right. Yeah.
Yeah, and we evolved too as well. So like, you weren't the same person 6 months ago, so it makes sense. But it was correct, and it was what it needed to be then. But always making sure that we're always checking into the alignment that creation is with you and your integrity and your authenticity, because that shifts and change. Your belief 6 months from now won't be the same as 6 months, now, as right now, and so I think it's important for us to hold on loosely to everything. Like, we can't have expectations. We can't be afraid of change. We can't like stifle our growth, because like, we're not going to put our life on pause. So making sure that everything is evolving as you're evolving. So it's good that you're able to tap in and to feel into that. You have a lot of first lines in your chart, which is all about creator energy. So you're here to create the foundation and pave the way and write the script and create the books and do the things that are going to help other people. And yeah, that takes patience, and yeah, that takes work, and yeah, you're going to be doing revisions and edits and all this other shit. But like, the work that you're doing is you're bringing, something new into the world. So thank you for that, because we don't have to do it.
Yeah, totally. And that first part that you said about us not holding on to things and not having expectations, that's also something that I talk about in the book. Whereas a lot of people want us to choose one thing, right? Like, what is your job? What is your role? Like, stick to one thing, because that makes them comfortable. But if we're not growing and if we're not developing, then we're dying, right? If you're not growing, you're dying. Like, that's just the way it is. And it's okay to change. It's okay to change from yesterday to today, right? Like, it's okay to change your outfit. It's okay to change your underwear. It's okay to change the way you feel, the way you look, what you want. All of these things, they transform over time. And that's okay.
Yes, it's okay. And you're going to go through like ebbs and flows where you're like, I am at the top of my game and this feels so good. And then you're going to be like, who the hell am I? Okay, I know who I am. Okay. And with this very well, because obviously your first line, which is creator, and you have 1, 2 in your outer activation sequence. And 1 is entropy, freshness, beauty. 2 is dislocation, orientation, unity. And so those play together with the masculine and feminine energy. So you're constantly needing to balance between the taking action, leaning back and receiving, being, and knowing how to flow in those. And then also knowing when you're in pregnancy down here and you're like, oh, black womb of nothing, what's happening here, right? Because it feels like a lot of empty space, but really it's very fertile ground. And so you've had to navigate this, and you're probably still navigating it, because as a manifesting generator, you're like, okay, create this. Oh crap, that needs to grow now. Let me leave you for a little bit and go do my other thing and my other thing. So you constantly have all these plants in your garden that you have to keep coming back and tending to, or like leaning back and receiving, right? Because as a manifesting generator, you guys wear tons of hats, doing tons of things. So you're going to be doing tons of creations. And as a 1-3, you want multiple experiences. You're not going to be satisfied with just like, this is what I'm doing. So Let me ask, is like an oracle deck next? Because that would be bomb.
So funny. I have a friend who's an amazing designer. He actually designed the cover.
Love it.
Yeah, he did a great job. So we've been talking about creating an oracle deck or a tarot deck.
Yes!
So yeah, maybe that's next. I don't know. But I just want to add. I'm sorry.
I said you got to get through this first and like send this baby off on the train. You know.
Yes, exactly. But I just want to add about what you said about the ebbs and flows, because that's so real. And Penny Pierce has a great book, The Intuitive Way. And she talks about the creative process that we all go through, no matter what your type is, projector, generator, whatever. We all go through this creative process, and it's a cycle, and it's just like nature cycles, and it's just like the moon cycles, and it's just like your menstrual cycle. Everything is in cycles, and she calls it be, do, have, be, where you begin by just being, by just letting yourself be in that open space, that womb, that darkness. And then you also end in that place. And that's where a lot of people get the burnout, or things are not working out. And they're like, what the fuck do I do next? It's not working out. It's because they don't let themselves just be and just sit back and relax and let something come through again. Let that inspiration come through again. So I really love that cycle. And that cycle is something that, be, do, have, be, And that cycle is something that I talk about in the book in a different kind of way. And it's also something that I teach and practice myself, because it's fluidity. It's flow with the universe.
I love that. Be masculine, do masculine, or be is feminine. Be
feminine, yes.
Have feminine, So that's cool. That's really cool. Actually, how would we classify the have? Because I'm like trying to dissect the like masculine and feminine.
I would say that the have is feminine. It's receiving.
So the do is masculine. It seems like the only thing in here is masculine is going to be the do. And then there's a lot of receiving. And in this world right now, it's all do, hustle, get it. If you want it, go out and get it. But in this, what works best is being in the feminine for the majority of the time, and then the do is only when inspired action comes. It's like the feminine needs to receive and dictate when you do. But people want to do all the time.
Yep. And that's why we get burned out. And that's why we're unfulfilled. And that's why, a lot of times we do without even thinking. Or let me rephrase that, without even feeling, right? We do all the thinking, but we don't do any of the feeling. Like, at what point do we stop and say, this does not feel good? This does not feel right doing.
Mm-hmm. What was the name of that book again?
The Intuitive Way.
The Intuitive Way.
It's excellent. Penny Pierce is amazing.
Awesome. So you went through your own journey. You went through the lows and then the figuring yourself out. And I'd say you're on like that upward swing where you're like, okay, I know who I am, and here's
Let's hope.
We're always going to go through, but at least you're not as low as you previously had been, right?
Exactly.
No more numbing, because you know that pattern's done. And now you're kind of, okay, so you made this book, and then tell me about, you have like a boot camp, a program coming out, because it's sometimes it's not enough to have that physical book and like that's you doing the work all by yourself. So this is kind of a way to support and guide and direct. So tell me about this new signature program that you have.
So the book is great, like you said, but it's different than having actual support. So I used to do Akashic record readings, and I still do them once in a while for very specific people. But what I have found was that Akashic record readings are amazing, and they give you so much information and so much validation, but people don't know how to put it into work. They don't know what to do with it. They just take the validation, it feeds their ego, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to create, I didn't want that to happen with this. I wanted to create something where people felt accountable. They went super, super deep, where they might not be able to take themselves with this on, the first round, where they might need some support. They might need some prodding, some tough love. But to really get to the deepness of their soul and to start peeling those layers of the artichoke to get to the heart. So I created this signature program to do just that. but so much more. I mean, this program it's called Soul Alchemy. And why I chose the word alchemy is because alchemy to a lot of people means magic, right? It's turning, many people think that it's creating something out of nothing, but it's not really that. Alchemy is like taking a piece of coal and turning it to gold. But that coal has to have a spark of gold in it already. It already has to have qualities of gold in order for you to alchemize it, to turn it into pure gold. And that's us. That's what we are. We can alchemize our souls because we already have that lightness inside of us. We already have the magic, the amazingness, the power. We have all of it. We just need some support. We need some processes. We need some exercises. We need some different ways of thinking, different perspectives. So that's what this course is. And it's built on science. It's built on mysticism. It's built on mindset work. The way that I have it laid out, it's based on the elements, the 5 elements. So we have water, air, fire, ether, and what am I missing? Fire, water, air, earth, and earth. And then I actually do water again. So it's 6 weeks. And I start with water, where this is your emotional body, and this is working on your shadow. This is working on clearing the emotional body of limiting beliefs, of the stories that we tell ourselves, that we've been telling ourselves, that have created all of these patterns in our lives that we no longer want to repeat. This is clearing all of that out. And at the end of each week, there's also ceremony. So here is a forgiveness ceremony. And this might change a little bit, but there will be a mystical, a spiritual ceremony with it each week. And then we have Earth, that's all about self-care. And it's all about clearing your physical vessel so that you can receive, so that you can understand yourself, so that you can try new things. And there's nothing really holding you back physically. So this is self-care, self-love, nutrition, exercise, and it's very much what works for you. It's not like, this is what I do, this is what you have to do. It's not like that at all. It's try it, experiment it, get to know yourself, get to know your body, get to know your mind, your emotions. And then we have air, which is gene keys and human design. Because this was the point in my life when I found human design and gene keys, that I finally gave myself acceptance to be a manifesting generator. I finally let myself accept the fact that I am unfocused at times and I like many different things, and that's okay. And that I am a creator, and these desires that I had to create things came from something. So yours truly is going to be teaching gene keys and human design in this course, which I'm so excited about because you're a fantastic teacher. So air is mental, human design, gene keys, understanding yourself from that perspective. And then is fire. What are your desires? What are your goals? What are your passions? What is your truth? What are your values? Exploring all of these things, creating goals for yourself, more than goals, creating legacies, creating visions. And how are we going to accomplish this? And really, I want to say, like fanning the fire, right? You already have the spark. It's just fanning it, making it bigger. And then the last week, we end with water again, because this is all about intuition development. I'm not going to send you out into the world without knowing how to connect to yourself intuitively, without exploring your gifts and your senses and your clairs. And then how can you use that for decision making? How can you use that in a business? How can you use that with, I forgot ether. Ether is in there too. Ether is all about relationships. That's week 4. All about how our energy relates to other people's energy. Triggers, why people trigger us. This is the one thing that has transformed my relationships everywhere in my life. Like, I'm talking forgiving people that I never ever thought that I could forgive. Triggers are everything, projections, boundaries, everything, relationships. And then going back to week 6, intuition development. And this course is a lot more than, the nitty gritties and the education and doing the work. It's about discovering all of the different elements of yourself. It's about healing. It's about creating a sisterhood, creating a tribe of women that are going to support you and are going to be there for you. It includes workbooks. It includes meditations. It includes private sessions with me. It includes magic, right? This is all about creating your inner magic. I think I got most of it.
Yes, it's freaking awesome. That's what it is.
Thank you.
I love the different elements because we're all comprised of different things. We all have, like, the gene keys are archetypes, and you're breaking it down into 5 simple archetypes. Go into them and understand, okay, how can I tap into my ether consciousness, my fire consciousness, and then learning how to operate in flow and the gift frequency and embodying all of them, because when the elements come together, they create things as well, right? So it's important to understand these parts. And man, there's so many. There's like 3 hummingbirds playing in front of my window. Which brings me back. The reason that they're in front of me is because Dana's. Is that how you say your name, Danna or Danna?
It's Danna. Mm-hmm. Danna, but it's spelled D-A-N-N-A, so everybody gets it confused.
Yes, Danna. Okay, so Donna's vocation sphere is Gene Key 14, which is all about competence, bounteousness. So when you're in the shadow, it's about compromise. But if you don't know who you are, of course you're continuing to compromise, right? So she's here to teach people about their competence, and that includes flair, which is why the hummingbirds hung out, is because that's Gene Key 8, is all about your style. Flair, flexibility, enthusiasm, and there's one more thing. There's like 4 things to it, but I don't remember what the other thing is. So she's going to bring in those things to her program because it's in her essence. Like, this is what she's doing. So she's here to have you come into your authenticity, to your uniqueness, and then know, what do you do with it? Like, how can you be competent in your design, in your uniqueness? Because when you know the integrity of your vessel and like who you are, that then you don't compromise, right? So awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about figuring out who you are. I'm hearing myself twice.
You're hearing yourself echo?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't hear you echo, so. Somebody had asked, your boot camp sounds awesome. Where do we get more information? I have a link to, if you scroll down on the description, there's a link to her website. So you can see, and you can also message Danna and chat with her.
Yeah.
So
I'm also having a webinar tomorrow that's going to go into some more detail and give you some really actionable steps if you want to start finding yourself now, start rediscovering yourself now. We're going to talk about shadow work. We're actually going to bust some limiting beliefs on the webinar. I'm going to give you my actual steps, and we're going to go into intuition development, some of those things. I can post a link to that too. It's totally free.
Cool. I was going to go on your profile and snag it because I think I saw you post about it.
I did.
Is it on your personal profile?
Yes.
We'll post that. We'll post that stuff in the comments so that you guys have the access to it. We'll post a link to her book. We'll post a link to her program, her boot camp, and that webinar so that you guys can have.
Cool.
You have 4 ways to get going on this: the book, the boot camp, the webinar, or you just PM her and like connect with her about this.
And actually, whoever signs up for the course is going to get a PDF download of this book, so they can start working on it right away. Yeah. Do you want to say anything about your module, the one that you're going to teach?
So I'm going to be teaching the air portion of it, so the mental. And I think the really important part of this piece is, so when you're able to understand who you are, understand how you receive energy, understand the different spheres, understand yourself, you get to get out of your own way, because your mind keeps asking why, or wait, or I need to understand more. This gives you the permission to be you, because you're like, okay, this is me, and I'm perfect the way that I am. I'm not different. You can, when you start understanding who you are, you stop comparing. And when you stop comparing, you start like really embodying that, because you're not putting up these walls and filters and like being like, I need to be superficial because I'm different. You're going to embrace your uniqueness. So we're going to talk about the basics of everything and tie it into the alchemy and the air sign and all this stuff. But it's going to be so fun. It's going to be awesome.
It is. It's going to be really cool. I'm really excited. I honestly I have this fire in my belly to just help women figure out who they are and accept themselves and love themselves. Like, that is just my mission, for everyone to love themselves wherever they are, because that's what I wish someone had done for me. That's what I wish somebody had just told me. Although I'm sure that wouldn't have worked because I'm a 1-3. I have to do it myself anyway.
Yeah, right.
But this is the program I wish I had. So I just really hope that it helps. And I know that it will, because I've already done it with private clients, and this shit works.
Yeah, of course. And of course now you're doing this and putting it out there, because I really like and I appreciate the inner work that you've done. And I think the biggest, I'm not a 1-3, I'm a 5-1. And a lot of my problem was the opposite, is that I would go out and you tell me who I am. Someone tell me who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot of like tools and advice and all this stuff for me to finally like drop it all and be like, I need to go in within.
Yeah.
Because with a 5, I'm like, with being a 5-1, like 1 is investigation. And yeah, I'll investigate. I'm going to investigate all out here because I don't trust what I'm receiving in here. And I went through a lot of like trust stuff and finally being able to let it all and like do that inner work. And yeah, it's important to have the support too. So no matter how you learn or however you process or whatever, it's still important to have the support and the community too.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I appreciate the inner work that you've done, so that you can then create this that kind of gives people this framework to like, how, so if I wanted to go within, what the hell do I do, right? Instead of just going to people and saying, here's your answer. It's like you get to have these epiphanies yourself. It's not
Yes, and that's exactly how I structure my coaching too. Whereas like, I could give you all the advice I wanted to, I could give you all the answers, but none of that's going to fucking matter unless you come up with it yourself. So it's all about just asking powerful questions and connecting my higher self, connecting to your higher self, and through my intuition, kind of channeling the right questions that are going to crack you open, that are going to get you to the answers that you're looking for. And that's what this program is about. I'm not going to give you all the answers. I'm not going to heal you. I'm not going to change you. You're going to do that. And it's going to be so much more powerful that way.
Yes. Awesome. Yep. I posted a link to her webinar in the comments. So if you guys are interested in that, what time is it? Like, when is it tomorrow?
It's tomorrow. It's 11 a.m. Eastern. But there is a recording. So whoever signs up for it, you'll just get a recording once it's done.
Awesome. Perfect. So if you guys are interested, and then tell us when the program launches and when the early bird ends too. After Halloween, it's Easter egg, guys.
Easter, that means new beginnings.
Yeah, after Halloween and we do all the shadow work, we got some new beginnings happening.
Yes, because that is when the program starts. It's after Halloween. It's November 5th. And the way the program is structured is that we meet twice a week on Zoom. So on Monday and on Thursday, we will meet. Everything is recorded, always. Everything will be available forever for you guys. So Monday we have the teaching, the webinar, the Zoom call where I will teach whatever subject we're on that week. And then on Thursday, it will be laser coaching, group coaching, and also Q&A. And the group coaching is super powerful because you feed off of each other's energy and you help each other out. And this is where we create the sisterhood. And also you get answers and you get to be coached. And then there's the Facebook group also. So the early bird, it goes until Friday. And that all of that information, I believe, is on the website. But if anybody has questions, they can just reach out.
Yes. Okay. Message, but he's talking about the Easter egg again. So apparently, it's time to
new beginnings.
New beginnings. Exactly.
Rebirth. That's the energy with this full moon too.
Oh, beautiful. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, this came at a perfect time. So I look forward to seeing you guys on her webinar in the program. Then. Okay. Shadow work again. He's like, after the Easter egg, it's another Halloween. So guys, it's I mean, it's not one and done. Like, you're going to have to keep
No.
doing this process, and it's going to keep going. It's going to keep getting easier too. So
Definitely.
you got to start somewhere, and you can't be afraid of doing the work either. Like, it's time to just dive in there and do it, so that, you know, it's like, rip that Band-Aid off. Let's start getting in there and releasing those wounds and really embodying who you are, because the woundings are just illusions anyways, right? We need to just release our attachment to the past and what's happened to us, because it's really just happened for us, because now we're at a place where this isn't defining us, it's just leading us back to ourselves. So just let those things be your little breadcrumb trail, and
love
come
that.
out whole. You are whole.
Yeah, so true.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well,
thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for hopping
Yeah.
on and chatting with us about this. It was,
Yeah.
it was awesome, and your work is so creative, and I love it.
Thank
I
you.
love it. I'm drawn to it.
Right back at you. I'm excited to be working with you and everybody that joins. It's going to be awesome.
Yes. So thank you, everybody who has hopped on. I'll post more of the links later in the comments and then in the description. So I look forward to seeing who starts working with us
Yeah.
in the program, and let us know if you're gonna buy the book too. Like, if you don't join the program, let us know about the book, because that's on Amazon. It's super easy to get, and
and I have some cool bonuses if anybody buys that and wants to let me know.
awesome, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, and thank you everyone who joined. Bye.
Thank you. All right, bye.